force and laws of motion. So with respect to the laws of motion, we need to understand that Newton had proposed three laws. That is first law, second law and third law. So we have already seen, or we have seen in the previous slides with respect to the first law of motion. In this slide we will start with second law of motion, wherein we can say that with a heavy force or a huge force is applied to an object, there is increase in the acceleration with respect to the object and also with respect to the mass of the object. So for example, if you take where a ball which is smaller in size and it is not so heavy, you can see that acceleration is more with respect to the ball of smaller size when compared to the larger one, wherein the mass of the objects will be different. So let's start with the slide. The impact produced by a moving object. So when an object is moving, the impact, that is the acceleration with respect to mass and velocity, is related to the second law of motion. For example, we can take a small example. You can imagine that a small pistol or a gun, how fast it is that the velocity is too much that a bullet can pierce through the body of a person. Here we can see that a small bullet fired at a high velocity, it can even kill a person. So the trigger that is applied is having a more force that will push the bullet forward with a higher velocity. So momentum. What is momentum? It is the product of mass and velocity. So it's the product of mass with respect to the velocity of that particular object is known as momentum, and it is a vector quantity. We have already discussed in motion chapter related to vector quantity. You can refer to that. So it is its direction. So here you can see that the bullet has certain direction of the small bullet fired with respect to the velocity. So it is denoted by P. So we can move to the next slide. So here SI unit of the same as kg meter per second. So we can see that it is denoted by P. So P is equal to mv, where m is the mass of the object, v is the velocity of the object. So let's move on to the next slide. So let's understand the momentum of a stationary object. So how does it gain the mass with respect to velocity when the object is idle? So let the mass of a stationary object, we can take it as m. Stationary means it is not moving. Let the velocity of stationary object be v. So mass, you can see here, mass of the object which is idle, it is not moving, as m, and velocity is taken as v. So the stationary object doesn't have any velocity since it is not moving. So v is considered as 0. So therefore we have the formula as P is equal to mv. So we will substitute v as 0 there, m into 0, that is anything multiplied by 0 will be 0 itself. So the momentum or the speed or with respect to the moment gained by the stationary object is 0 because it is not at all moving. We know that velocity of an object, it can be changed by applying an unbalanced force. So force which is not balanced on the either side, so we can make the object to move with certain velocity. Similarly, momentum of the object can also change by applying an unbalanced force. So let's move to the next slide. So what does the second law of motion states about? So it is all about the change in momentum, that is initial momentum will be 0. From 0 it changes to speed or gain the velocity of an object. So the momentum of an object is directly proportional to the unbalanced force that is applied to that object and in the direction of the force. So if you push some object, you can see that the object gains some momentum and the force applied is unbalanced. So you do not have a balanced force when you push that object, and the force applied is in the direction of the force, and the movement will be with respect to the force. So we'll take an example here. A cricketer, when catches a ball, you might have played cricket, right? So when the batsman hits the ball, so it will be having a higher velocity, and when the fielder catches the ball, you can see that the momentum of the ball makes your hands to move backward. So pulls his hands backward direction to give some time to decrease the velocity. So the velocity will be decreased, else your hand will be hurt. Here you can see that the acceleration of the ball or the speed of the ball will decrease when you pull your hand backwards, and you can exert a time. So you can give the moving ball a time to decrease its velocity, and would also try to stop the moving ball. So suddenly he would have applied a larger force. So you can see this example with respect to the cricketer who catches the ball. So moving on to the next slide. So we will see some mathematical formulation with respect to second law of motion. So based on the definition of second law of motion, we can infer that change in momentum is directly proportional to P2 minus P1. That is the final velocity minus initial velocity and the gain in momentum. So it is directly proportional to mv minus mu, that is final velocity minus initial velocity. So it is directly proportional to mass of velocities. So you can see that rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the mass of the velocity, that is initial point to the final point with respect to the time taken. So force is directly proportional to m into v minus u, that is with respect to the time. So final minus initial. So force is k into m v minus u by t. So force is equal to mass into acceleration. So here initial velocity is u, final velocity is v, acceleration is thus v minus u by t. What is v here? Final velocity minus initial velocity by time taken. So 1 unit of force is k into 2 meter square, that is equal to k is equal to 1 is its value. So moving to the next slide. So here we can see that force is directly proportional. The force you put on an object is directly proportional to the acceleration. So you can see that acceleration of the object, it can change. So it can change depending on the force that is applied on that object. Thus force is equal to mass into acceleration. So SI unit of force is kg meter per second square, or N, which represents as Newton. So that's all about the second law of motion. Now moving to the third law of motion. So motion of third law, we always speak about that every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So the third law is always about action and reaction forces. So you can see that two forces acting from an opposite direction are called action and reaction forces. So for example, you put a ball on the floor and it bounces back. So action is that you are going to put the ball on the floor, and reaction is that the ball is bouncing back. So you can see a ball when hits the ground, action, bounces back to a certain force as reaction. So in this figure you can see that the ball hitting the surface is the action, and the reaction is it's moving away from the ground. So moving to the next slide. So we'll take another example, the same bullet example, wherein when a bullet is fired from a gun, the gun only moves a little backwards. So you can see triggering the bullet, that the pistol or the bullet moves only a little, the gun moves only little backwards and recoils, while the bullet should travel very fast for a larger distance. So because it is difference between the mass of the bullet and the gun. So here you can see that. So recoiling of the gun, so you are going to trigger it and the bullet should move faster, so that accelerating force on the bullet will make the bullet to move for a longer distances. So coming to the next slide. So we need to understand that how we are going to conserve the momentum, the movement of an object. So sum of momenta of two objects. So if they are moving, two objects are moving in the same plane, they will never collide. But two objects, when they are faced to each other and there is a momentum for A and B, when they collide, what happens? Let's see that. So two objects before the collision and after the collision remains the same if no external force is acting on it. Say that we do not put an external force on the two objects, then the momentum will remain the same. So in other way, collision conserves the total momentum of two objects. So once two objects collide, if there is no unbalanced force, their momentum or the speed will remain the same. Otherwise, there will be a difference in the momentum obtained. So we can move to the next slide. So example is a ball of M1, mass 1 and mass 2. So before collision, so you can see that during collision and after collision. So during collision there is an unbalanced force acting on it, and after collision you can see that the ball moves away in opposite direction. So two balls A and B having a certain initial, so you can even mark it as A and B. So it's A and B with mass 1 and mass 2 having a certain initial velocities. So starting velocity, they have some starting velocity. So before colliding with each other, conditions before collision, that is there is no unbalanced force. So now there is no unbalanced force acting on it. Then the initial velocity of A is greater than the initial velocity of B. So A is moving in the forward direction, B is moving in a backward direction. So you can see that the momentum gained by A will be on larger front with respect to B. So that's all about this chapter. So we will be continuing with a new topic in the next video. Thank you all for watching.